Hi, my dear Astro family. Today, I will speak about the upcoming Venus and Saturn square, which is going to be taking place on the 1st or 2nd of January, depending on where you are. So I picked this as the aspect of the week. The reason why I wanted to talk about this aspect is because, it's the holiday season, and often we feel unworthy. We feel lonely. So I would like to give you maybe some remedies about how to tackle this Venus and Saturn square. It might be helpful for you to overcome some of your obstacles around self-love and some of your love issues as well. Now, if you would like to hear more about weekly forecasts, then you might want to be signing up on my YouTube channel to the membership zone, and then you will be getting information about every single aspect, including asteroids as well. A deep dive, usually it's a good 45-minute video altogether, and I give you a very detailed description about what is ahead of us. Let's get started with this Venus and Saturn square. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is going to be happening on 3 degrees of Sagittarius to 3 degrees of Pisces. So when we look at the archetype of Saturn and Venus, this is pretty much of a reality check whether the relationship we are in works or not. You're going to have to look at whether you feel that the energy is somehow getting sucked out of you by other people. And when I talk about other people or love, it does not just only mean romantic relationships, but pretty much anyone you have got a little bit of a closer connection with. Or imagine that Venus in Sagittarius would like to do some element of fun, something enjoyable, attending a party, for example. But then at the same time, we've got Saturn who says no to it. Saturn says, you know what, we need to work hard. And once the responsibilities are attended, the work is done, then we can start enjoying life as well a little bit. So you might want to be asking yourself the question, what are those responsibilities that are keeping me away from having some fun? Yes, this is about attending necessary tasks. This is about just sometimes we need to be focusing a little bit more on simple, fun activities rather than trying to schedule, I don't know, a trip, for example, with Venus in Sagittarius, because something might come up. Saturn is the planet of hurdles, obstacles. So we can run into an obstacle and then we might not be able to travel like originally we planned to do that. But also this could be the aspect where we are craving for some type of quality connections with others. It might be a reality check whether the relationships you are in is working for you, or whether the friends you are surrounded by are real friends or not. When it comes to love, what I would say is that it would be important with this aspect to approach it from a practical point of view, such as doing small things to the partner or for the partner. But also at the same time, of course, Saturn is in Pisces. Pisces have got expectations. So we are expecting something in return from the partner as well. But most likely it's going to be something small. The very negative manifestation of Saturn and Venus is that I do not feel loved. I'm not worthy to be loved. I'm unable to love others. And yes, the desire could increase with this as well to have fun, but then we might be having too much going on in the background. The background is because of Pisces, and too much going on is because of Saturn. Or it could be the complete opposite, lacking the desire to be around people. The lack of desire, the lack is actually a Saturnian theme, but also it's in the sign of Pisces as well. And Pisces wants to be hiding often. It just wants to be feeling miserable, actually. It wants to be staying in the bedroom, obviously, because we've got something to work through. So the Saturn Venus is actually asking you to reprioritize your life a little bit. What really matters to you? What is the most important connections you have? And maybe hanging on those people as well. Saturn Venus could be the aspect of loneliness, but I would say that with Venus being in the sign of Sagittarius, it will be very important to see ways to move forward, to see or to remain optimistic. Yes, Saturn often is the planet of no's. So we're going to have to say no to something. Imagine that all of your friends are going on a New Year trip. And unfortunately, you're going to have to say no because maybe you have no one to look after your dogs or kids, or you just have got some work coming up. Also, Saturn wants us to put energy and effort into something. So it's Venus. We need to make efforts to a long-lasting relationship, or we need to be making efforts to make a bit more money. Of course, Venus can mean multiple things as well. It's something to do with our desire, the connections we make, but also something to do with our appearance as well. So it might be that you are craving to have a pedicure and a manicure and a beauty session, but at the same time, you feel like you have got financial obligations. So you want to put a stop to it. This is telling you, though, that you do deserve a bit of a self-care as well at the same time. But maybe we need to be looking at the price of it, or maybe we need to be prioritizing what is important. Let's get the nails done first, and then the massage can come later. Also, this is the aspect of loyalty. So you might be looking at the people who you are loyal to, or those people actually who loyal to you. You know, often what happens around the Christmas period and the New Year's Eve period as well, that we tend to be kind of like summarizing who has texted us Merry Christmas, who hasn't, and so forth. And then there is a realization that I might not be as important as I thought to that other person. Now, taking this Venus and Saturn a little bit further, looking at who I've got deep connections with, you might start questioning your relationship department. You might start looking at the values in your relationship. Do those values align with the path you are on at the moment? But also, it's a very smart idea to look at where the barriers are in your relationship. Do I actually need to let them know that there is a bit of lack of connection or love? Or do I need to let them know that I cannot tolerate something anymore? This could be a bit of a hesitation here. Of course, Saturn is the planet of boundaries and limits. So you might start somehow evaluating, looking at how many times these boundaries have been crossed. This is the aspect of enough is enough. You know, you cross the boundaries and I cannot take that anymore. But of course, we've got Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, which is very optimistic. Or maybe you were promised that this was the last time. But then something is lurking in the background with Piscean energy. Is it true? Or am I going to get the, am I going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like lied to, or am I going to be, you know, am I having a foggy mind in a way? Also, Saturn Venus can pretty much talk to you about, especially if you are single, to look at why you have built a huge wall around you. Do you have the tendency to suppress your fun side? Do you want to come across a lot more serious than you are? Do you not allow people to get to know that fun side of yours? If you are in a relationship, then this is an invitation to face the challenges together. Because we all have got burdens, but when we share the burdens with others, then it's a lot easier to handle them. Also, Saturn Venus is an invitation to know your financial limits as well. Can I spend money? Can I not spend money? How far can I stretch the bed sheets, basically? Often what happens is that the emotional receptivity is a little bit low with Saturn and Venus as well. Also, from a positive point of view, the older we get, the younger we look. Or it could even indicate from a attraction point of view, Venus is the planet of attraction, that you are going to be attracting a older guy. And You might start questioning or doubting whether it's a good idea to kind of have some type of feelings towards an older guy. So having that age gap might cause a element of debate and inner conflict within yourself. But you can have some type of belief systems created around these days, such as, oh, it's very difficult to find love. Oh, love is a hard task. I do not deserve pleasure. You feel guilty about choosing yourself over your responsibilities. But also, it can bring in the fear of loneliness. Imagine situations that, because Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, as well as Saturn in Pisces, is a little bit more spiritual. So you might feel that, or you might have got issues of charging the right amount of money to your clients. Maybe you have got the tendencies to compare. You compare yourself with others. But the question is that comparison fair? Are you trying to control, I mean, are you trying to compare yourself with a 20-year-old one when you are 40? And so on. So make sure that the bar is not set too high. Often that's the case with Saturn in Pisces, that our bar is really increased significantly. Also, this is a day when you might look into the mirror and you cannot be optimistic about how you look. So this is the hurt of image of beauty. Or maybe you need an element of validation about your own beauty. Maybe you believe that it's wrong to be vain. Maybe you look at things whether a fail or a pass, right? Because Venus is in the sign of Sagittarius. Often that's kind of like making a judgment about what's right, what's wrong. So you might look at your relationship department, for example, oh, I failed in it. Or I succeeded, but my partner failed. Also, I feel like with Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, it would be very important to have more of a progressive outlook on life. So overall, this is how I would describe this aspect in as much as time we've got, actually. But if you are curious about the week ahead energy, then I recommend signing up for my membership zone on YouTube or even on my website. You would be receiving a couple of webinars that's included in the price of the membership. And also you would get the energy patterns each week. And actually, I'm going to be introducing a slightly bit different membership. So I will be making from next year onwards lunation report for each of the signs as well. And I'm even considering to make weekly breakdown for each of the sign as well for the members. So thank you everyone for being with me. And I wish you all the best for 2024. I hope it's going to be a smashing year for many of us. And see you soon again. Bye-bye.